Good morning, everybody. We are going to kick off today's webinar. It's my absolute pleasure to have everybody there. I know in every business across Victoria today, there's certainly a different feel than what there was last Wednesday, particularly with the Prime Minister's announcement last night, and of course the Premier's address this morning as well, which we'll touch on a bit later. I'm Paul Guerra. I'm the Chief Executive of the Victorian Chamber of Commerce in Industry, and again, it's great to have you here. We're trying something a little bit different over the course of the next few weeks. We really want to come into your business and help you with the questions that have been on your mind, but through this process, also bring some advice to you. We don't want to capture you for too long today. We think around half an hour, and you'll be able to download the session after today so that you can listen back to it in your time. It's really around trying to bring you up to date with the questions that we've been asked. We're going to have some experts, and today we'll have our partners with Pitcher Partners, with Ines Cull and Adrian Clerici, that'll take us through cash flow management, because that is one of the biggest issues that we're seeing in small business at the moment. And then there's an opportunity for you to ask questions online, which we'll pick some of those up, and we've also been asked a bunch of questions up front as well. My very special thanks to Small Business Victoria and Barbara Cullen, who's led the way with us on this as well. It's great to have the support of the Victorian Government as we move into what is a new territory for us, which is the live streaming of the webinar. So for the next half hour, we hope to engage you. We hope that after the half an hour, you'll go away with at least one idea. And for some of you, I'm sure you'll go away with a few more than those ideas as well. So with that, I'm going to invite Anne Wright to join me now. Anne is the head of our marketing and media and comms team. Anne's been dealing extensively with the media through this process, and we thought it would be a good start to bring you up to speed with the type of questions that we're getting from the media for a couple of reasons. One, it sets a nice background for what the conversation today is going to be about. But two, we are always asked by media for businesses or people that might want to share their experiences as well. So it's an opportunity for us to get to know you a bit better, but importantly, for you to understand who Anne is and I guess what we're about, so that if we do give you a call, or if you are prepared to work with us with the media, you know who you'll be talking to through the process. So with that, Anne, welcome and good morning.
Thanks, Paul. Just to kick off, Paul, what are you hearing from members at the moment?
The mood changes almost daily, and I think if you look back 2 weeks ago, most of us hadn't even heard about the coronavirus, and today we're hearing about a potential stage 3 lockdown. It's moved quickly. Sadly, for some members, they've had to make decisions around their business, and some members have chosen to close their business. Certainly others are looking through how they keep going for what is the next 6 months, and they've made some decisions around staff. And others are going through that process as we speak. There's been a lot of questions around how do we work from home for those organisations that are able to work from home as well. And some can, some can't, obviously, and there's some challenges in and around that. Certainly the biggest issue that we've got, and that's why we're leading with today, is how do I manage my cash flow through this? How do I make sure that I get out the other end of what is likely to be a 6-month period? So there's a lot of questions around how do we finance the business through this period. And then finally, we're being asked a lot around the government support that was announced both Saturday from the Victorian Government and on Sunday from the federal government as well. So we'll cover some of that off a bit later as well.
Thank you. And the Morrison and Andrews governments have both announced support for business now. Can you tell us how members can take advantage of that assistance?
Yeah, there's a lot of support out there for business, which is just fabulous, and it varies from grants to guarantees on loans to rebates on payroll tax for those businesses that are on paying payroll tax, which is just fabulous. Later this week, you'll hear more about the $500 million fund that's been allocated for special relief as well. And there'll be more details on that. We are actually working with the Victorian Government on that one as well. But I think there's probably a couple of places that you can go, and that's business.vic.gov.au, and that'll take you through to the state government's business site, and that's Small Business Victoria in and around there. And of course, jump on to the victorianchamber.com.au, and we have a full update as to what is available through all of the government funding, both at the state and the federal level as well. And then finally, for those of you that are members, jump onto our helpline. The team's ready. They have the support at their fingertips, and they'll be able to direct you in the right way.
Great. And what else has the Victorian Chamber done to assist businesses through this very difficult time?
We're here, we're standing shoulder to shoulder with business through this. 3 weeks ago, it seems such an eternity, now coming off the back of droughts, bushfires, and the early phases of coronavirus. We actually launched an initiative to waive membership fees for the first 12 months for our entry-level memberships. So anyone that's not a member, please come and join us in that. It's designed to give you the support that we think you're going to need through this process. And it's really our way of bringing all of the Victorian business together. We were, before this, Victoria has been the strongest economy out of all of Australia. We've been the engine room, if you like, of the Australian economy. And that's what we want the Victorian businesses to be after this. So after a discussion with Small Business Victoria and Barbara Cullen, and David Latina within the Minister's Department, we decided this was a good way to get things moving. So on top of the membership waiver, we've introduced this today as well as a weekly update to small businesses around the country, in fact, all businesses around the state. And of course, the other thing we're doing is ramping up our call line to make sure that any wait times are minimised as much as we can.
Sure. And what's next on the Victorian Chamber's agenda? What's the Victorian Chamber's position?
We've been really active with both the federal and state government in terms of pushing for support that governments need. And the proposition has been really simple. Unfortunately, with the economy basically stopping because the revenue to most businesses has stopped, we know where this would have ended if governments did not intervene. And that's nothing that any of us want to think about. Both governments, the Andrews government have been exemplary in their leadership, as have the Morrison government, have put on the table various type of packages. And they've both indicated that this isn't the last that we can expect to see from government. So we've been working closely with government to be able to get the right inputs out into business across the board. We intend to keep doing that, but we can only do that off the back of what we're hearing from businesses in Victoria. So from our members, thank you very much for the feedback that you've been giving us, because it's enabled us to really work through what would work for you in different type of scenarios that you're facing. And look, small business is facing different challenges to a large business, is facing different challenge to a medium-sized business. So the input that you're giving us is really useful. We intend to keep doing that. We will then move to what it looks like after this. We've got some good feedback in from China in terms of how long it's taken, and it's about 5 months. Whether it takes us 5 months, whether it takes us 7 months, whether it takes us 12 months, we know we'll bounce back from this. And that's where we want to start shifting our thinking a little bit too. Once people and businesses have made the decision that they need to get through the next period, we'll start to think around what does it look like when recovery starts? How do we make sure that you as a business owner, that you as a business operator are in a position to bounce back and bounce back quickly to an even stronger position than where you've been? The Chamber will do some thinking around that, but again, we'll need your input on that.
And you mentioned the rebound. Can you share your insights into what the Chamber is doing to prepare members?
Yeah, so the first part, Anne, is to really work with the members to get through this initial period. When we're satisfied that that's the case, when everybody's understood what packages are available from both the state and federal government, and help them out with things like cash flow, and again, we'll hear about cash flow shortly. We then want to start thinking about what does your industry need? The tourism industry, for example, we want that to bounce back quickly off what has been a really difficult time off the back of bushfires and now coronavirus as well. The government is starting to think through that, particularly at a state level, and we're active in conversations with them, and we'll continue to be active in conversations with them as well.
Sure. And just lastly, where can businesses access information?
Again, I'd point you back to the victorianchamber.com.au. You can find us online, and equally business.vic.gov.au. are probably the two of the best sites in terms of accessing information that you'll need quickly. Senator Michaelia Cash's office has been brilliant in terms of the advice that they've been putting out. So you can jump onto a range of federal government websites there, but it's easier to come into either business.vic.gov.au or victorianchamber.com.au, and from there, the right links will be available to you. Appreciate everybody taking time out of your day to do this. There will be another webinar next Wednesday at 11 o'clock, and I look forward to joining you there. We will advertise what the topic is ahead of time. But if you've got any suggestions of the areas that you would like us to cover in the next week's webinar, we'd be more too pleased to hear from you. So my thank you particularly to Barbara Cullen and the team at Small Business Victoria, to the team at the Victorian Chamber of Commerce, but importantly to you, the business owner, the employee out there, for tuning in with us today. We need you to get through. We will absolutely bounce back once this coronavirus clears. We know there's a bit of a way to go. We're here side by side with you, and we will make sure that we'll do our best to provide the advice that you need in a timely manner. Thank you. Go ahead and enjoy your day. Thanks.